morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm your boy, R.W. Cool. It's been a minute. We got some problems already. Let's see what we got going on here. Hold on, y'all. Got to brighten up a little bit. Brighten up some things a little bit. Hold on. Now I'm out of focus. Hold on. Y'all bear with me. It's been about 2 weeks. Bear with me. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm your boy, R.W. Collins. Thank you for tuning in this morning. You got a good morning already? Michelle Summerall, good morning, Appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in. How's everybody doing out there? I'm well rested. Had a good vacation. Got away. Got my mojo back a little bit, feeling a little better. I don't know if I look better, feel a little better, but we're going to get into this, man. Look. 37 days until election day, Tuesday, November 5th. We got 37 days, and we're going to get into this right now. Let's go ahead and do what we've been doing. Let's put the information up here. Can I vote? www.canivote.org. www.canivote.org. And I'm trying to find, here we go. So let's go through this first. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's get through this first. This is the website you can go to, check and see if your status is good to go. You go to the www.nass.org, National Association Secretaries of State. Can I vote? And you're going to go ahead and flip through, go to the next page, and click on the voter registration status, big exclamation point there. Go there. Also, here, in the drop down, pull your state up, what state you reside in, where you're registered at. And then once you do that, then you can go to the next thing, put your information in, find out, and make sure that you're eligible to vote November 5th. We've been talking about this for almost a year now. I've been trying to put y'all on game. But we've been doing this for about a year. Go in, check your status, make sure you're good to go, because here's where I want to get this point across. www.nass.org, can I vote? There's a reason I'm saying that this morning, because I've seen some articles and some conversations over the last week or two, and this is one of them. With news about states clearing out their voter registration rolls en masse, it's understandable you may be anxious about the status of their own registration. The latest example of this came from North Carolina, where on Thursday, around 747,000 names deemed ineligible to vote in the state were removed from its rolls. I'll read that again. On Thursday in North Carolina, around 747,000 names deemed ineligible to vote in the state were removed from its rolls. I've seen this in North Carolina. I think it was also in Alabama. And I think they're also doing something like this in Georgia. I'm telling you guys this because you need to go in and make sure that you're registered to vote, make sure your status is good before November 5th. We've been talking about this long enough where it shouldn't be a surprise. Let's just say that. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody out there to know exactly if you're registered the right way, if your information is correct. www.nass.org, can I vote? Now, there's also a couple other places you can check your voter registration. Vote.org, vote.org is one of the more popular sites that you can use to check your voter registration status online, operated by a nonprofit. Also listed is Can I Vote from the National Association Secretary of State, which is the one I've been putting up for the last whoever knows how long, if you've been watching. And then there's another one called vote411.org. Also, you can go there, check your registration. Reggie P. Rowe, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. You can go there and check your registration. Vote.org, can I vote? .nass.org, can I vote? And vote411.org. I'm telling you guys this because there's been, as I mentioned, in North Carolina this week, 747,000 names removed from the voter rolls. 747,000 names removed from the voter rolls. You need to get in there and you need to ensure that you're registered in the right way in your state, the way you want to be registered, all the above. We've been talking about this long enough where it should, you should be reaching out to other folks and telling them, hey, have you checked your status on nass.org/can I vote? For 37 days. We have 37 days before the election. And I want everybody to know, and I'm going to put this out there again as well. The other part of this is everyone is concentrating on the presidency, which is fine. But there's a lot of down ballot voting that needs to be taken care of in order for us to be able to get the things put into place that we need put into place to help us in our livelihood during this time. Now, there's a lot of back and forth about the economy and all these different things. Okay. But there's a lot of things going on in your local elections that we also need to be paying attention to. Judges that are being seated, local politicians that have aspire to become senators and congressmen. We need to be paying attention to these people, even your local assemblymen or congressional district people. All these people on these election ballots matter. They're going to deal with your local legislation that goes on, as well as being puppets or being a part of the people that we put in the Congress and the Senate. We need to ensure we're looking all the way down the ballot. Big Al, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Terrence Collins, my brother. Happy birthday, my brother. I know I didn't mean to put you out there on this. Happy birthday, brother. Enjoy. It's a big milestone. Enjoy it, my brother. All right. So without further ado, let's put that up there again. www.nass.org/can I vote. And we also have vote.org, vote411.org, and can I vote. nass.org, can I vote. Those are the three places you can go and check out your status. We got 37 days. Don't wait till day 36. Do it today. If you haven't already done it, do it today. And if you have already done it, do it again. Because as I mentioned, 747,000 names have been deemed ineligible to vote in the state of North Carolina, and they were removed from this roll. In explaining this purge, the North Carolina Board of Elections said that these individuals had either moved to different parts of the state and not updated the registration, or had not voted in the last two federal elections. Similar purges have also recently happened in Texas and Oklahoma. No matter what the reason might be in your state, there are a handful of free online tools that can help you look up your voter registration and do it quickly. As I mentioned, the three main ones. A major uptick in the public's interest in candidates and ballot measures helped the three most recent major elections: the 2018 midterms, 2020 presidential race, and the 2022 midterms, because some of the biggest in modern U.S. history. The 2020 election between then President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden saw the highest turnout since at least 1900, according to the Pew Research, with around 2/3 of eligible U.S. voters casting ballots. Ensure you and your family members are registered. Ensure that you and your family members are registered. Cherie Joseph, good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I know I sound like a broken record. But these are things we got to pay attention to. These are things we need to do. 37 days. We on the countdown for the get down. Souls to the polls. People to the polls. Get them out there. Take people with you. If they ain't got no ride, pick them up, take them. We need people to get out there and let your voice be heard. No matter what the situation is, let your voice be heard. That's one of our taglines here on the Speak on the Show. Let's make it happen and come to fruition. It's an unscripted Saturday, as y'all can tell. I got a lot of things going on. I got some big announcements at the end, but without further ado, let's go on and get into this. Let's go. In the news. As I just mentioned, 37 days until the election. And in these 37 days, we got some decisions to be made. If you haven't made up your mind yet, some decisions have to be made at the top of the ballot. And at the top of the ballot are these two individuals here. You have former President Donald Trump and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. These are your nominees for the Republican and Democratic parties to become your president, our president of the United States. You know, let's just talk. Let's just be real here. And y'all can chime in with my thing, with what I'm going to say here. But when you step back for a minute and you listen to the media talk about the differences between the two candidates, the differences in the two parties at this time as far as how they've changed, especially the Republican Party, because it's not the Republican Party anymore. They call it the MAGA Party, Make America Great Again. But when you step back and you look at differences in what are the policies, what are they planning to do, how are they going to help you, what do they see going forward in the future? There's only one candidate of these two that I can honestly say has said anything about how we're going to move forward. Because you have the one candidate, former President Donald Trump, and the former fits, because his main thing is back to what we used to be. Back to what we used to be. There's no vision forward. There's the Project 2025. There's all these different things about what we used to be. Make America great again. When we know, especially as African Americans, immigrants, people who migrated here, America hasn't been great for each and every one that's here in this country who's a person of color. Now, I say that, and a lot of people will say, well, that's not true. Well, you have to know the experience to understand the experience. Let's just be honest. To be Black in America is a completely different experience. Case in point, when people see these two pictures here, what do they see? They see a white man and they see a Black woman, which there's debate about whether she's Black or not, but that's what you see from the visuals. But when you dig deeper into what we know about these two candidates, from my opinion and what I see privilege and I see opportunity. I see one who has been privileged through his whole life to be able to file numerous bankruptcies to still be considered a rich man in this country, not because of what he's done, all because of where he stands, where he sits, and what he looks like. When I look at the other candidate, I see a person who took advantage of the opportunities that were given to her, not only given to her, but she took advantage of the opportunities of what she did to put herself in position to be where she's at today. Not DEI, which they want to put on, not DEI. She has worked her way to be where she's at today by pushing to become the best person that she can be. The other person, on the other hand, handouts, corruption, let's just call it what it is, corruption, taking advantage of systems because he manipulates the systems in a way that he can benefit himself from it. The other person has used the system in the fact of trying to help the people, which is what she says, as a prosecutor, as a DA in this country, and now as the vice president. Now, people will talk about inflation. Inflation happens all the time. Is it a higher inflation than we're used to? Yes. But people don't want to take it back to the fact that the inflation is where it is because of some of the things that happened during the pandemic. Pick and choose. But at the end of the day, these are the two candidates. Choose wisely, because one is trying to take you back, one's trying to take you forward. One has a vendetta, one has a vision. The two V's. Vendetta, vision. And the vendetta that this person has is not going to benefit any of us. It's going to cause more chaos. The vision that the other one has is going to bring us to, hopefully, and I say hopefully because a vision is only a vision until you put it into action. But the vision is to help us move forward and become better in this country, not only for the wealthy, but for everyone. for everyone, especially when they talk about the middle class. When the middle class is thriving, we all thrive. When the rich is thriving and the middle class is starting to consider lower class, this is when you get the inflation and everything that's going on in this country right now. Tax cuts for the wealthy, tax breaks for the middle class. Choose wisely. Vendetta, vision. It's the best way I can put it. Vendetta or vision. Now, a lot of people will say, well, he says he's going to do this, he's going to do that, but do you really think he's going to do it? Do you think he's not going to do it? Do you think he's not going to do it? Because if you listen to any of his speeches, and I do for you, if you listen to any of his speeches, none of his speeches have anything to do with moving us forward. It all has to do with looking back and this vendetta against the people who have held him accountable for his actions. If all of us went through our lives with a vendetta for anybody and everybody that held us accountable for our actions, how can we move forward to become better than who we were? You can't, because you can't see past the fact of your anger and your hatred towards people who held you accountable for something that you did. Choose wisely. 37 days. 37 days. Sticking with politics. Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson. Now, let me start off with this. There's a lot of names that people will put on him as far as what he's been doing, what he's been saying, how he's been acting, all these things. But I'm going to start with this. Yesterday, he was treated for second-degree burns on his hand from Friday night after suffering the injury at a campaign event in Mount Airy. His campaign tells News Nation that Robinson was discharged and will return to the campaign trail on Saturday. Robinson was burned when he put his hand on a truck at the event. He put his hand on a truck, burned his hand, supposedly a second-degree burns from what I read. But that's not why I posted this one. This just happened to be a caveat to why I wanted to put him up here today. If anybody's been paying attention, Mark Robinson got his start. Let's just go back. Mark Robinson got his start in North Carolina and became into politics off of standing up in the town hall and defending gun rights. This is where he got his start. He stood up in the town hall and it was all over the place on video and everything about, you're not going to take my guns. And, these school shootings, you got to hold the people accountable. Guns don't kill people. People kill people and all these type things. This is where he got his start. And it catapulted him to being a politician within the Republican Party. That's how he started, over gun rights. But he's been very controversial about some of the things he said. And lately he's been under intense pressure to quit his campaign for governor and to resign his current post as lieutenant governor, since reports surfaced of old online posts in which Robinson referred to himself as a black Nazi, said he enjoyed transgender pornography, said in 2012 he preferred Hitler to then President Barack Obama, and he slammed the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as being worse than a maggot. Now, I want to say this. If we had heard anyone of non-color call the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King worse than a maggot, we'd be in an uproar. But when we see Mark Robinson do it, we may be in an uproar, but we're not as vocal, because what we do is we get into the name calling, those names that I don't like to use, what y'all call Clarence Thomas and Byron Donalds and so on and so forth and everything like that, because we can't agree to disagree anymore, is my opinion. But let's move on. But no one, from what I've seen, has held Mark Robinson to account for the things he said, other than saying he needs to jump out of the race or anything like that. And as I always ask, where's their family? Where is his family? Where are the people who they say who raised him? Who raised you? Let's just be real. For him to spew this vitriol and different things like that. And some of the other things that he said, and I'm going to run them down before I pull up this next picture. He said he's a black Nazi and he enjoys trans porn. These were posts that were found where he's trying to sue CNN for the report that they did, investigating him, where he was online as some different name, and I think it was Black Nazi or something on the website or whatever, but he enjoys transgender pornography. He calls himself a black Nazi. He says transgender women should defecate in public rather than having to use a bathroom. He said if you can't make a decision which bathroom you use, just go outside. He said it's time to start reading quotes from Hitler and Stalin. He said this in a speech. Once a woman is pregnant, it is not her body anymore. Calling LGBTQ plus people maggots and flies. He said Black Panther, the movie, was made by an agnostic Jew and satanic Marxist. He stated that Michelle Obama is secretly a transgender woman, coming from a man who says he likes to watch transgender porn. I digress. Black Democrats are slaves. Homosexuality will lead to society's collapse. Jewish bankers are horsemen of the apocalypse. He wouldn't be surprised if the moon landing or 9/11 was fake. Beyonce's music has a satanic message. And he says, don't have sex unless you're making a baby. And then he said, some folks need killing. These are statements that he has made in his lifetime and up to the day when he's out campaigning to become the governor of North Carolina. And I ask again, who raised you? Where's your family in all this? What? And I'll ask this question. And he mentioned that he doesn't back up for anything he said, not one bit. Let's put that out there. But he also is trying to sue CNN for reporting on the things that they found in this investigation and so forth. But he doesn't back up for anything he said. Think about that. But I guess my biggest thing is, when do people like him start being held to account? And I say that because, a lot of times we, as African-American blacks, when we look at people like Mark Robinson and the Byron Donalds and the Clarence Thomases and the Candace Owens and everything, we don't hold them account. What we do is we ignore them, call them names, so on and so forth, because we can't agree to disagree. Now, ignorance is ignorance. Let's just be real. Ignorance is ignorance. But I asked the question of that because sometimes what we got to find out is what got them to the point where they're at. Or are they just doing it because they're trying to be in a position that they're trying to get into? And they know by spitting this and spewing this vitriol that you're going to have people that don't look like him, that are going to support him and look at him differently than they look at you as an African-American black person in this country. I don't understand it. Probably never will. But I found this, and I only put this up to show you how things switch. This is something that I found online about Mark Robinson. If you look at him, he looks like the guy, I can't remember his name, from the Boondocks, with the one eye, half closed and everything. I'm a black Nazi is what he said. I'm not in the KKK. They don't let blacks join. If I was in the KKK, I would have called Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Lucifer Coon. Arrest trans women who use women's bathrooms. I like watching tranny on girl porn. Vocal Parkland shooting survivors are spoiled little bastards. Then it says, guess which party I belong to? And I will say this, where it says, guess which party I belong to? We do equate everything he said to the Republican Party. However, and not in their defense, but to bring up a fact, you have people on both sides, That probably sound like Donald Trump right there. You have people on both sides that spew this same vitriol, Republican and Democrat, because at the end of the day, they're human beings and they have their beliefs and understandings outside of the political spectrum. Let's just be honest about it. And they will spew this because they're allowed to spew this and nobody pushes back. We just sit back and clutch our pearls and I can't believe he said this and all that, but nobody holds him to account. And the reason you know this is because right now, with everything he said in the past and up to today, he's the lieutenant governor of North Carolina. Let that marinate for a minute. Everything that I've told you that this man has said before and during him sitting in the lieutenant governor's seat of North Carolina, he has said these things and he is still sitting in the seat and not being held to account. Now, I don't say this only to our African-American black politicians. This goes to all politicians. All. When they spit this vitriol and they're still sitting in the seat because we don't do our due diligence and get them up out of there with our votes. We don't. Case in point, when we're talking about politics. Eric Adams, New York, city mayor, indicted for bribery, for taking bribes. Federal prosecutors unsealed an indictment Thursday saying Adams took trips to France, China, Sri Lanka, India, Hungary, Ghana, and Turkey that were partly or fully paid for by people looking to buy his influence in city government. The indictment also accused Adams of conspiring to collect illegal donations to his campaigns. It says New York City Mayor Eric Adams has never been shy about his globe-trotting ways, but he's not always said how he bankrolled years' worth of overseas adventures. Federal prosecutors unsealed an indictment Thursday, as I mentioned. The gifts prosecutors said included free hotel rooms, seat upgrades worth thousands of dollars, expensive meals, entertainment, even a trip to a Turkish bath. All told, the perks were worth more than $100,000, prosecutors said. The indictment also accused Adams of conspiring to collect illegal donations to his campaigns, partly by funneling them through straw donors who hadn't actually contributed the money. Adams says he didn't do anything wrong and has no plans to resign. His lawyer, Alex Spiro, criticized the charges as a jumble of innuendo meant to mislead the public and tarnish the mayor. This is where we're at in today's politics. However, this is what they indicted Mayor Eric Adams, New York Mayor Eric Adams on. This is Clarence Thomas. Y'all know Clarence Thomas. I couldn't find a picture with him smiling, so this is what you get. But here's the question I have, because Eric Adams is being held to account for taking $100,000 from foreign governments and doing things like that. But let's recall Supreme Court Justice. Now, let's get the title right. Mayor, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, which is a lifetime appointment, the longest sitting at this time on the Supreme Court. And here's all the scandals he's involved in. Harlan Crow trips. In 2023, they realized that Thomas had for years accepted trips from GOP megadonor and developer Harlan Crow, including on his private jet and super yacht, without disclosing them on financial disclosures as federal law requires. Senate findings on Harlan Crow, though Thomas has now started disclosing some of his trips with Crow on his financial disclosure forms, claiming he was not previously obligated to report them. The Senate Judiciary Committee and now the Senate Finance Committee have uncovered additional undisclosed travel. Harlan Crow tuition. Harlan Crow paid for Thomas's grandnephew tuition because he had custody of him. He gave him money for school to attend two private schools in 2000. It was called $6,000 per month at one of the schools, and were similarly not disclosed. He didn't disclose that. Real estate, if you remember, Harlan Crow bought his mother's house, bought Clarence Thomas' mother's house, and it was never paid back. And they never disclosed that. RV, he bought an RV for $267,000, got it on a loan. Loan was paid off by Harlan Crow, never identified. So my question is, what is the difference between Clarence Thomas and Mayor Eric Adams? There is none. The difference is the position they sit in. That's the difference here. Supreme Court justice versus mayor. Corruption versus corruption. Let's just call it what it is. Corruption versus corruption. No way around it. It is what it is. These are the things, when I talk about these judges that are running for office, this is what I'm talking about. You got people that are at the lower level of judges right now that are being put into positions on the district courts and things like that. They had the same mindset as him. You have people that are running for mayor and aldermen, assemblymen, that have the same mindset as Eric Adams, where corruption is the name of the day. But they're not being held to account in all cases. Isn't that right, Clarence Thomas? It is what it is. I don't take pride in reporting these things about what's going on, but we have to pay attention to the things that are going on other than just looking at who's running for president. We have to look at who's running for mayor, who's running for all these positions that are going to dictate the legislation and your livelihood in your city, in your state, and in this country. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to sway nobody's vote. If you don't know who you're voting for by now, you haven't been paying attention. Just my opinion. You haven't been paying attention. However, these things happen. There's corruption everywhere. There's corruption all over. What we have to do is be diligent in researching and finding out who can we trust. Now, you talk about politicians. What we know is politicians lie to get your vote. They come shake hands, kiss babies and everything during election season. You may not see them again until the next election. But we have to hold them accountable by going to these town meetings. By going, case in point, and I digress for a minute. Out here in Nevada, Las Vegas, Clark County School District, one of the largest school districts in the United States of America, ranks at the lowest as far as education. Ranks low, probably number 50 out of 50. Low. They are having problems with budgeting. They haven't had a superintendent in almost a year. That keeps an ongoing process. All these things are affecting not just the taxpayers, but it's affecting the children that are going to those schools. And we don't show up to these school board meetings. We don't show up to these town hall meetings. We don't show up when we need to show up to let our voices be heard about what we agree with and what we don't agree with. We think at times that the only time that we need to let our voice be heard is when somebody's running for president. But there's things going on in your city right now, each and every day, that we need to be more involved in to make an influence on how things are going to go. Whether you have children in school or not, the school district is important to your community, because a bad school district puts out bad products of students, which becomes a bad person in society. Let's just call it what it is. It's a trickle down effect, as they say. Brian Hoodie, good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. It's a trickle down effect. But we got to be more diligent and do our due diligence when it comes to these things. Start attending these board meetings. When you see something advertised, go. It doesn't have to pertain to you specifically, but you have to understand that a lot of the decisions that are made at the school board meetings and all these other meetings in your city, in your county, in your district, all these things affect your taxes. They affect your taxes. Somehow, some way, you're going to be paying for the things that aren't getting done. Even if your kids are grown and out of school, the school district is still tapping into your funding and your taxes each and every year that you pay to maintain what they're doing. And if we're not involved, you're just paying taxes on something that you don't even know anything about. And I say the school districts, but it covers a whole lot of roads and grounds, your roads, infrastructure, all these things come into play. And we have to do our due diligence and pay more attention to these things when it's going on, not after the fact and say, oh, he's president. Damn, I didn't think he would win. Oh, she's a judge? Man, I remember when she sent my boy to jail for 40 years and he didn't even do the crime. Think about it. Think about it. This next topic is something I didn't really want to talk about, but I think it's important that I touch on it. And it deals with Sean Puffy Combs. Sean John Combs. Michelle Turner, good morning. Good morning. Michelle Turrentine, good morning. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Sean Puffy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, whatever his names are. But as we all know, he was indicted. He's being held without bond. They took his passports and everything. They say he's a flight risk and everything. We seen the writing on the wall that this was coming back with the settlement out of court with Cassie. And everybody remembers Cassie came forward, sued him. They settled out of court. Once he settled out of court, I don't care what anybody says, if he settled out of court, it's an admission of guilt. Then the video came out of him chasing her down the hall and kicking her and beating her. And then they, in the meantime, in between time, somewhere in there, they raided his homes in LA and Miami and found all these different things and everything. But we'll get into that in a minute. But what I'm leading to is this. I'll be honest with you. I was never a big Puffy fan. Some music I like, some I didn't. It's like anything else. Some stuff we like, some stuff we don't, As far as who he was as a man or who he is as a man, I try to stay away from that because I don't know this person's heart. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does on his spare time and everything. But we've always heard that Puffy, whatever, Sean Combs, throws great parties. This is what it was always. It was always he throws the grandest, greatest parties. And everybody used to talk about these parties, man. They off the chain, they this, they that. But now, all those people who partook in those parties are kind of distancing themselves and saying, I ain't never been to a Diddy party. They got people coming out actually saying, I've never been to a Diddy party. When you had a lot of people that were broadcasting they've been to a Diddy party. If you ain't been to a Diddy party, you ain't been to a party. But now that the allegations of these things called freak-offs are coming into play, now it's a whole different conversation being had, or lack of conversation being had, due to the title of the freak-offs being put on here. Now, they've said there's been many people, high-profile people, T.D. Jakes have been to these parties. They said Barack Obama's been to these parties. They said all kinds of people. I don't know if they've been there or not, but you got to go out on a limb and say if they were all talking about how big these parties were and how good parties they were before the freak-offs start. They say a certain time is when the freak-offs start. However, if you're someone with a name in Hollywood or you're a celebrity or anything like that, you probably were invited to some of these parties. And I want to say it this way. I've been to parties, not the Puff party. There ain't been no Diddy parties. Let's clear that up. But I've been to parties where there's a lot of people that were invited. You may see some celebrities here and there and everything like that. But at the same time, when you go to these parties, you know the atmosphere you're in, and you know when things take a turn in the direction of maybe it's time for me to go. I don't need to stay past 2:00. They used to say, what you doing out past 2:00? Because ain't nothing open after 2:00 except for, and I won't say it on here, but you know what I'm talking about. But I say that because it's funny to me, and I say funny to me, I laugh, that all the people who were advocates for us who couldn't attend or was never invited to the Puffy parties, to the Diddy parties, are now silent about the Diddy party. They was all bragging, we was at the Diddy party and everything. But now those same people, you can hear a mouse pissing on cotton is how quiet they are. I bring that up to say this. I'm not saying he's guilty of all the things that he's being indicted for. And I'm not saying that, he's not guilty. What I'm saying is all those enablers, and I'm going to go back to the R. Kelly case, all those people who enabled Diddy to do the things that he allegedly did, where are they? The biggest question everybody's asking is he going to tell on people? Who he going to tell on? Is he going to sing? Is he going to sell out the people that helped him? Is he going to sell out the people that participated with him? Because there's allegedly rapes. There's a woman that just came out yesterday that said she was raped numerous times. She got pregnant, had a miscarriage, or I think she said she had a miscarriage or something, and they drugged her, took advantage of it. You know, the old scenario that they got Bill Cosby on, same type thing. But now she's suing him. And since he's been indicted, there's been at least 4 other lawsuits against Diddy for rape, assault, those type things. Not only women, let's clear that up. Not only women, there's been men also in these alleged lawsuits. So when you step back for a minute and ask yourself the comparisons, because a lot of people want to do comparisons. I don't do comparisons as fact, but people want to compare what R. Kelly went through and what Diddy's going through. And they all say it goes back to the fact of how he called out the liquor company that Ciroc was under and all these different things. There's all these conspiracy theories of what went on, but it doesn't take away the fact that if he did what we seen on camera to Cassie, to any of these other people who are coming up with these lawsuits or anybody who hasn't come and spoken out, then he needs to be held accountable. We don't know the inner workings. We don't know everything. We probably will never know everything, except for the victims coming forward and saying what happened. But if what we've seen on camera is any clue to what was going on behind the scenes consistently when he's dealing with the women that he was dating or some of the men that were coming over there accusing him, yeah, he needs to be held accountable. Because if it was either one of us, any of us, we'd be held accountable as well. The rape and all those things. But everybody concentrated on one thing when they said finally released pictures and everything of the raid on his home. And that was the more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, along with other various freak-off supplies. Now they're calling them freak-off supplies. See how they took that thing or freak-offs and they just threw it in there? Freak-off supplies. I don't know. In my 58 years, I don't know what a freak-off is. I don't know what freak-off supplies would contain. However, I guess in this indictment, they're saying freak-off supplies. Baby oil, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, along with other various freak-off supplies. But what they're overlooking, people concentrate on those things. But let's look at one of the major things that they found during the raid. Firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, and a drum magazine, a high-capacity magazine that can carry a large number of bullets. AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, and a drum magazine, a high-capacity magazine that can carry a large number of bullets. Now, let's stop there for a minute about the AR-15s. Because we've seen and we've read and we've heard a lot of people that have AR-15s, and they go out and they do school shootings, they do assassination attempts, they do all these things with AR-15s. But an AR-15 in today's society is an everyday gun to some people. However, when you scratching serial numbers off, defaced serial numbers and stuff like that, then that's a whole nother conversation. So I think people are overlooked in the fact of Diddy having a record. I don't think he was authorized to have any type of weapons like this in his possession, especially with defaced serial numbers. Let's concentrate on what we know to be fact. We don't know truly what happens at a freak off, only but what has been said. We don't know, how many of these people that came forward are actually telling the truth about what they say happened to them. We don't know the facts of that. What we do know facts about is that an AR-15 with a defaced serial number is a crime. And they found that in his home, allegedly found it in his home. That's what I'm looking at from my point of view. All that other stuff, the sexcapades and all this, if he took advantage of people, then they need to come forward and say that. They need to come forward and hold him accountable for that. But when you talk about these defaced serial numbers off guns and AR-15s and all this kind of stuff. We can't be in an uproar when we see non-African-American black people walking down the street with open carry and everything like that and be mad at that, but then find out that somebody that looks like us has defaced serial number AR-15 sitting in their home for protection when they're illegal to have, or he's not legally authorized to have them. Those are the differences that we need to look at, from my opinion. And they also got him on racketeering. Now, we hear racketeering all the time, but I don't think we really know what racketeering is. And it says racketeering is a charge used to indict an organized scheme in which a criminal enterprise demonstrates a pattern of racketeering activity, which are underlying crimes that may or may not be charged in themselves, and that scheme affects interstate or foreign commerce. It's typically used to prosecute organized crime, but can be applied to a wide variety of enterprises. For instance, former President Donald Trump and his allies were indicted on state racketeering charges in Georgia for trying to overturn the 2020 election. In this case, prosecutors allege Combs and his associates engaged in racketeering through the alleged scheme to transport sex workers and manipulate and abuse women and then conceal the abuse, which involves interstate commerce since sex workers were allegedly transported across state lines. The indictment alleges Combs and his associates committed a number of underlying crimes when they engaged in the alleged scheme, including kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and possession and distribution of narcotics and other controlled substances. That's what we need to be concentrating on. Take away the freak offs and all that kind of stuff in these parties or whatever was going on in them parties. Yeah, if people were abused, okay, that's fine. But being concerned about 1,000 bottles of baby oil and all that, you got baby oil in your house. If they come and raid your house and you have more than 2 bottles of baby oil, are they are they looking at you differently because you got baby oil in your house? Now, 1,000 bottles is extreme, but maybe they had a lot of guests. Maybe they had a sale. Maybe they had a sale. I don't know. But we get wrapped around the axle on something that we look as tangible when you say baby oil, because everybody has used baby oil in some sense, not just to moisturize your skin, but I'm just saying, compared to the fact of the weaponry and the racketeering synopsis. And in there, it even states that Combs and his associates, which means there will probably be more people charged under this once they start sifting through whatever went on with this. All I'm saying is, let's not get wrapped around the axle about some damn baby oil and freak off equipment. I'm gonna call it equipment, when there's more in-depth things that we need to be looking at on what kind of things were going on in conjunction with these parties and his lifestyle as a whole. Not that it's in our business, but do the crime, do the time. That's all I'm looking at. I'm looking at it from that aspect. We looked at R. Kelly in that aspect. We need to look at Sean Combs in that aspect. We also need to look at former President Donald Trump in that same aspect when these cases come to trial. Case in point, the one that went in New York, the sexual assault trial, the corruption as far as the overvaluing properties. Look at the facts, not the fact of whether you like them or not, the facts of what they're presenting to say that this person committed a crime. Eric Adams, same thing. We get wrapped around the axle on shit that don't matter. Doesn't matter. Now, are they going to use the baby oil to say he had all this baby oil because he was using that to sexually abuse people and all these kinds of, we don't know. All they said was they found thousands of bottles, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, along with other various freak off supplies. Call it what it is. I don't know what to tell you, but at the end of the day, he's going to have to face the music. He's going to have to face the music. September 29th, 2012. September 29th, of 2012. That was the first show for Speak On. Speak On His show with R.W. Coolin's first show was September 29th of 2012. Today is September 28th of 2024. 12 years we've been riding. We've been rocking together. We've been doing this every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Started off at a different time, but to 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific every Saturday morning with some breaks here and there. But for 12 years, Speak On His show has been in existence. I chose not to do an anniversary show this year, only because we got too many other things that are more important. Well, I won't say more important, too many things that are dealing with our livelihood going on, to include the election and things going on in the news and everything, that I felt that just a show dedicated to the anniversary was not necessary this year. But I want to say this to everybody out there who listens, who participates, who tunes in, who may have an opinion. And, you may have an opinion, you don't chime in, or you listen and you chime in with each other and everything like that. Thank you. I want to say thank you to each and every person that has ever tuned in once, or somebody that has tuned in numerous times, to anybody who tunes in every Saturday morning when I'm on. Thank you. And I say thank you because this is something that I enjoy doing. It's something that I get up every Saturday morning motivated to do. And I understand, as I mentioned many times before, and you've heard me say this on other shows, I don't do this for the likes. I don't do it for the clickbait. I don't do it, for recognition. I do this because it's a passion of mine to get the information out. After 12 years, I'm at a point where this is going to expand to other things. As I mentioned, I recently retired again from federal government. 10 years federal government, I recently retired. So I have time. I have time to do other things. The show, improving the show, expanding the show is one of the major things that I'm going to be doing. Speak On the show will still be in existence going forward, without a doubt. But I'm touching in on some other things. I didn't put the slides up because I'm still working on these things, but I'm venturing into life coaching. And I spelled life coaching with a Y, L-Y-F-E coaching. Because I put the Y in there because you need to know your why. Remember your why. Life coaching. In life, remember your why you're doing the things you do in life. But the name of the coaching business that I'm starting is called Lifegistics. Lifegistics. I came up with the name because I've been, 40 years, almost 40 years of my military service, and everything I've done work-wise has been geared around logistics. So I incorporated that with the life coaching because I didn't just want to be called a life coach. I want to be called a coach. I want to help people get to the next level that they're trying to get to. The slogan for this is awaken the best version of you. Awaken the best version of you. That's the next venture that I'm working on. That's the next, thing that I'm putting out there that I will be doing, putting in life coaching. There will be seminars and different things like that I'm working on. But I wanted to give it to you this way today on this anniversary of 12 years to let you know that in these 12 years, what I've done on this show has allowed me to look at the life coaching aspect in a different perspective. Giving information, passing on information that's written down or there's news articles and everything, that's one thing. To be able to sit down with someone and come up with a plan and help them create a plan on how they want to move forward, whether it be in their career, in their life, in their confidence, any of the things that you can think about that people struggle with, that's what I'm here to help do. Lifegistics Coaching Solutions. The website is under works, but I do have the Facebook page that I'll be putting out. I'll be sending invites out to everybody that tunes in. Anybody that's friends of mine, I'll be sending an invite out for you to like the Facebook page for Lifegistics. There's going to be some motivational things on there, some different things that will help you think about where you need to change or where you need to adjust things. I don't like to say change, but adjust things, because whatever you're doing is working. But sometimes you just need a little help in making it work a little bit better. And that's what I'm here to do. And I want people to understand life coaching is not counseling. Life coaching is not counseling. Life coaching is to help you. You already know what you need. Let me put it this way. Everyone knows what they want to do or what they need to do in order to get to the next level. As a life coach, the perspective and the purpose is to help you pull that out of you that's already in you to help you get to the next level. We're not here to counsel you. We're not here to give you therapy, any of those type things. Life coaching is to help pull the things out of you that are already there, that you know are there, but you just need somebody to help pull that one. You know how you pull a string on, like you got a piece of thread hanging off your shirt and you start pulling it and it starts unraveling all the way around the seam of the shirt. That's what life coaching is, to help pull those things out of you that are already there to help you get to the next level. There's a seminar that I'm working on right now, and y'all have heard me say it, Confidence, which is the logo for the hat. I'm working on that as well. But there's going to be a seminar because I'm a confidence coach, master certified life coach, happiness coach. I can't remember all of them, but I'll post all that in the thing, in the introduction coming up. But in this, I want to be able to help you. I want, from my experiences and the things I've struggled with and the things you're probably struggling with, I think as a team, one way or another, we will help you get to the next level. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm trying to help you get to the next level, or somebody you know may be stuck and may need to get to the next level. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm working to do. So Lifegistics Coaching Solutions. Awaken the best version of you. Awaken the best version of you. That's what we're doing here in the next movement going forward. So look out for that. I'll be sending that out for the Facebook page and everything. But what I will tell you is this. In the 12 years I've been doing this, I've enjoyed every minute. And I know that the next ventures that I'm doing, because we'll have a podcast for the Lifegistics Coaching Solutions as well, for the motivation things. But this and what we've been doing here for 12 years, don't stop. It will continue to grow. It will continue to be going on. And I would hope that we get more people involved, not for the likes. And like I said before, not for the likes, not for anything, but just for us to be involved in the processes and to understand what's going on around us, rather than getting pigeonholed into thinking that it's status quo each and every day. That's it. That's all. As I said, the logo for Confidence, that's it. Those will be coming. They'll have t-shirts as well for the Speak on the Show again. And we'll also have some t-shirts coming up for the life coaching, Lifegistics. So tune in. Lifegistics with a Y. L-Y-F-E. Gistics. Lifegistics. That's the name. Lifegistics Coaching Solutions. I appreciate everybody. I know y'all going to tune in. I got something to say. I got some experiences that I want to share. And I also have some ways that we can get you to the next level. And when I talk about confidence, I want to backslide for a minute. When I talk about confidence is a combination of cool and confidence. And I think we talked about this before many years ago. Cool and confidence. And the tagline for confidence is be cool, be confident, be you. Be cool, be confident, be you. What I found out in talking and having some conversations, there are a lot of us that walk this earth who lack confidence, self-esteem, and we allow other people's opinions to minimize who we are in this world. Confidence is a mindset. You don't have to walk around to let people think or to have this vision that you're cool. You don't have to walk around like I'm very confident, because sometimes your confidence can come off as arrogance. Confidence is a state of mind. It's a state of mind that under pressure, I can be cool. In trying times, I'm still confident in who I am as a man or a woman. Confidence is a combination of everything that I can walk it, talk it, and be it. No matter what anybody thinks about me, no matter how anybody feels about me, I am confident in who I am. I have confidence in my abilities. Be cool, be confident, be you. That's where we're at. So I'll put that seminar out because, and I'll just give you a little scenario. I was talking to somebody and I asked them the simple question: are you still trying to do the things that you had talked about doing? And they came back and they said, well, there's a few things that'll hold me back. Financial, money, money, financial. They said money, confidence in self, and not having a plan, not knowing how to go about it. And what sparked me was the fact of a lot of us don't have a plan on our lives. We go to work in our jobs. We come up with plans each and every day on how to get things done when it comes to our jobs. But when it comes to our life, do we really have a plan? Do we plan how we're going to get to the next level in life, just being who we are? That's one of the things that helped me come up with life logistics, because a lot of times logistics is all about the planning on how you're going to get from one place to another, get product from one place to another, or the logistics of how you're going to get to where you want to get to. That's logistics. We don't use that in our everyday lives as far as having a plan on how we want to get from one point to the next point, or how we want to get from being this person to this person. We take it as an afterthought of it's just a part of life. But if you really think about it, our life is all about being planned and logistically doing things. Now, you don't have to have that structure completely every day. However, if you want to live a complete life, there has to be some structure within your life in order to get to the next level. Because one thing we do is we structure our life around our jobs. We don't structure our jobs around our life. You see the difference there? Because when you go to work, everything is planned. You're planning everything. If you're a manager, supervisor, there's a plan on how you're going to get these things done that are on your agenda to get done. Whether it's goals, you set goals for your teams, or you're out here and you're trying to get bonuses for your people. You set standards, SOPs. There's a plan on how you're going to get there. But we don't do that in our lives. That's where I come into play. So life logistics coaching solutions. Awaken the best version of you. That's what we're doing here in 2024, going into 2025. But I'm going to let y'all go now. I appreciate everybody tuning in. The election, 37 days away. Don't wait until the last day to find out that you're registered in the right way. Don't wait until the last minute to find out who you're voting for. Do your research. The people are already out there as far as who's running for what office. You don't have to wait for your ballot to come in to know these people. You can go to your secretaries of state, pull up all the names of people that are running for offices in your city, in your state, and all the way up to the president. Find out who's running and who you're voting for. Know what they stand on and what they mean, and know about their past and what they voted on and what they didn't vote on. We have to get better at doing our research when it comes to these things. Just like you can go and find all this information about these 1,000 bottles of baby oil puffy hair, you can go find out about these 1,000 rules and laws that these people voted against or for that impacted your livelihood. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll be back again next week. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. As I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely keep your faith in God. I'll see y'all again next week, and I'll holler. 12 years, baby. 12 years and many more to come. I love y'all. Peace.